this is your first time tuning in here on YouTube, just hang around, hit that like button, hit subscribe. We'll be going live daily during training camp. And hang around. We're going to dive into the defensive side of the ball. But everybody at the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2. We appreciate y'all.
For those of you listening on the pod,
welcome into hour 2. The new people went, what the hell was that? Hang around, buddy. It gets weird around these parts. I'm just telling you right now. So, all right, let's start off with the edge room here, Tim. Obviously, at the top of the depth chart, you've got Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness as your starters. Now, you'll notice Kingsley Enagbare listed above Brenton Cox. Again, no particular order. I just want to put that up there, mainly because Kingsley Enagbare's had a large majority of the backup snaps, right? So you got Brenton Cox, Aaron Mosby, Barron Sorrell, Deslin Alexander, and then Colin Oliver. Now, Tim, we talked about Colin Oliver before, just always a shoe-in, going to be on the 53. Now we're hearing a little bit of injury concern, right? Maybe it ain't nothing, but this is what we're talking about. There's a chance Colin Oliver starts on the PUP list, you know, coming out of camp. If that happens, then what are we looking at here? You know what I mean? Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Kingsley Enagbare, Brenton Cox. There's your 4, Barron Sorrell's 5. If you carry 6, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Aaron Mosby? Is it going to be Deslin Alexander? Going to be Colin Oliver? If Colin Oliver's healthy, there's your 6 edge defender. And plus, Colin Oliver can play a little Sam, a little Will, a little hybrid stack backer. That's what you're looking for is these guys, just like Bo Melton. So making it hard to cut him out of the wide receiver room is what if he can play corner in a pinch? You know, that's valuable. So,
yeah, I 100% agree. I would think if Oliver is healthy down the stretch here throughout camp, I think him and Mosby are competing for that last spot for sure.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So, again, when it comes to that defensive side in the edge room, the top 4, their top 5, it's shoe-in, right? Barron Sorrell, Brenton Cox Jr., Kingsley Enagbare, Lucas Van Ness, and Rashawn Gary. Yep. If Colin Oliver's healthy, he's your 6th. If he's not, I think he might just carry 5, Tim. And look to maybe activate somebody out the practice squad when you need it. You know,
we talked about JJ Enagbare too. Like if that guy takes the slightest step backwards, there could be movement. You know, we'll just put it like that.
I'm gonna tell you, this guy right here.
Yep.
On my radar, big time.
Yes, sir.
After going back and watching the tape, Brenton Cox Jr. did not put much negative on tape last year. It was a lot of fun watching him play. It looked like he beefed up a touch. It looked like he learned how to contain a little bit better against the run. He was way more gap disciplined in the run fits. And then he'd get out there and get after the quarterback, man. I mean, you're talking about a guy who led the team in quarterback pressure percentage, finished with 4 sacks on far fewer snaps than everyone else, you know, in terms of the edge room that had the significant numbers. So going to be interesting. He is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. All right, let's move on to defensive tackle, Tim. At the top of the depth chart, you got Kenny Clark, Devontae White, Carl Brooks, Kobe Wooden. All right. Now the question becomes, who else do you carry? There's 4 for defensive tackle. Okay. You got James Esther, Keith Randolph, Warren Brinson, Nazir Stackhouse. What it's feeling like to me is if he's healthy, Warren Brinson will be the 5th you carry. If you carry 6, it'll be Nazir Stackhouse. However, if you just carry 5, do the best you can to get Nazir Stackhouse on that practice squad. I think it'll be tough, man. I do. I think it'll be tough. Now, James Esther obviously returning from the practice squad. Maybe they like him enough there for the scout team, get another big body in there on the scout team and help you during practice. That's what the practice squad's for, obviously. So that and just trying to hide diamonds in the rough as the Packers have done for years. But what do you think there, man? Am I wrong, or do you think it's Warren Brinson and Nazir Stackhouse rounding that out if they end up carrying 6?
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think so. I think Nas Stackhouse could prove to be one of the best UDFA signings in the past couple of years for the Packers. Hopefully I'm not getting ahead of myself here, but I've got high hopes for Nas Stackhouse, man. You know, I love my Georgia guys, right? And then, Warren Brinson, another guy we're really excited about. I think those are the 2 for sure, other than Wooden, Brooks, and Wyatt and Clark for sure.
I wanted to go back if I could in time, and I don't think I can there. Maybe I can. I wanted to be able to go back at certain points for the consensus big board, and I don't want to take the time to do it right now, but if I could go back to the end of the 2024 season so you guys could see where Nazir Stackhouse was at the end of the college football season, that dude was like, he was flirting with the first-round pick. I remember 2 years before he was up, like the year before he came out in the draft, people expected he might be one of the top defensive tackles taken in the draft. And
did we ever figure out why he went undrafted?
I know this about him. He's got narcolepsy. Okay, if you guys don't know what that is, narcolepsy is a medical condition.
It's extremely scary. Is what that is.
It's a medical condition where you can just at any moment randomly fall asleep. Now, y'all going to get a good kick out of this. All right. My grandfather had a form of narcolepsy, but I'm not making this up. Y'all hear my accent, think Clayton's telling tales. He got kicked in the head by a horse. That happened. And from that day forward, they said he'd be sitting at the dinner table eating. His face would hit the plate. He'd just crash out. Narcolepsy. Now, it was more of a physical induced, type of it. But with Nazir, obviously, I think it's something he must have been born with. I don't think it was anything that happened from an accident or anything when he was young. But yeah, they said he'd be sitting on the bench and just fall asleep. And
I'll tell you what, I got $100. I know you got $100. Let's buy an extra case of smelling salt. Just put a box right there next to him and give him a spot on this team. Let's go.
Heck yeah, man. 2-0 for this says, that's why everyone slept on Stackhouse. I see what you did there. I see what you did.
That is terrible.
That's terrible.
So, yeah, there you go. I don't know if 2-0 for this is being serious or not, man. I don't know how to take people in the chat sometimes. He said, I have a form of it, but that's from concussions. I think he's being serious there, and I think that's what happened to my grandfather, obviously out there working on farms.
We know 2-0 for this is a veteran, so it could be, something from the military. Thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah. Daryl in the chat says narcolepsy is not really life-threatening. I like what Packer
is if you fall asleep in front of a 350-pound lineman in the middle of a game.
Packer Up said, Daryl, it is if you're driving, LOL. No doubt about that, man. So Drew D says, my roommate had narcolepsy. He fell asleep at the movie theater and kept falling into the kid's seat next to us, and I couldn't wake him up. So I had to keep moving him over. Man, I didn't know this many people. I thought I was going to be the only person with narcolepsy experience here with family members and friends, but it sounds like everybody. It's touched everybody. Maybe we need to do our next charity thing for narcolepsy too.
Hey, like I said, let's give away a case of smelling salt.
Again, Nazir, I think that's probably why he fell. And it's not like teams were like, no way we're drafting him. He's got narcolepsy. I think it might have been something where, you get 2 or 3 guys in the same tier. When we build our board, Tim, you kind of seen the horizontal board and tiers of players. If you've got a group of 3 defensive tackles, one's got personal issues, one's got narcolepsy, and the other don't have any kind of red flags, you're probably going to take that guy, right?
Yep.
So I think that's probably how he fell. And it's not a knock on him. Look, man, he can't help it. It's a medical condition. But how cool would it be, man? What kind of story would that be if the reason that absolute stud of a defensive tackle went undrafted, fell right in our lap, ends up going on to be one of our better players, and you're going to have that storyline tied with him throughout his NFL career? I think it's kind of cool, man.
I do too. And how awesome is it for him to go undrafted, but here he is in Green Bay, and now he's in with, NFL level medical staff. He's going to have the best of the best looking after that condition that he has. And, it's probably not something that just goes away, but if he learns to manage it or they find creative ways to treat it or, mitigate those issues, I don't see why he can't have a great career in the NFL. So I'm with you, Clay. I'm all behind him.
Yeah, and 2-0 for this confirmed. He had 6 concussions, so that's definitely – he was being serious. He said narcolepsy doesn't care about coffee. Ain't nothing can help it. Boy, when it turns off, it turns off. I seen that firsthand. So, all right, let's move on to linebackers. Starter, Quay Walker. You like how I shook that up? Quay Walker and Isaiah McDuffie, your starters. Of course, Edgerrin Cooper. Let's go, man. Edgerrin Cooper. I think there's a decent chance that Edgerrin Cooper wears the green dot this year. I don't know if they will or not. He definitely beefed up, got up over 240. And, again, you think, Clayton, what's the big deal there? Why? Well, as you guys know, Will and Mike in our nickel 4-2-5 is very interchangeable. You hear me talk about that all the time on the show when we do film breakdown. We point it out every time, right? But Edgerrin Cooper coming in the league, if you kind of got him as a will build, meaning, 225, 230 be fine. When you see a guy blimp up to 240, 245, start flirting with that 250 mark, Tim, now you're talking about a gap-destroying Mike linebacker by every definition of the word, and you're 4-3, put him right in the middle of the defense. I think there's a chance he takes that step, but there's also a chance, as we seen last year when Quay was healthy, right, you got to see him kind of take a step forward a couple times there late in the season. Now, somebody said that Quay was in a walking boot. Somebody confirm that for me in the chat there. Is Quay Walker in a walking boot? Does it sound like he's going to start on PUP IR? Because
NFI
I didn't find any.
list.
Is that what it was? NFI?
I think he's on the NFI list, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So if that's the case, really shakes things up here. Now, I think he'll be ready for week 1, so maybe it doesn't shake it up. But Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper at the top, right? Probably Edgerrin Cooper, then Quay Walker at the top. Isaiah McDuffie, Tyron Hopper being a 3rd-round pick, he's going to make it, right? Now the question becomes if you carry 5 or 6. If you carry only 5, Isaiah Simmons would be my 5th over Christian Welch and Jamin Johnson, all right? If you carry 6, I'm keeping Christian Welch over Jamin Johnson. I think it's reasonable to believe now that Christian Welch was available once again this year and Goody picked him back up, you can get either of those guys on the practice squad. I'm not sure you could get Isaiah Simmons over to the practice squad, though. So for me, I would carry at least, if everybody's healthy, Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, Isaiah McDuffie, Tyron Hopper, and Isaiah Simmons. What say you, Tim?
I'm going to be boring and once again agree with you 100%. Here we are with our annual training camp with Christian Welch in the beginning, in the building, and getting me excited about the Iola, Wisconsin zone, possibly making this team. And of course, he probably won't when it's all said and done. If they're keeping 5, I think it's Isaiah Simmons as your 5th. But, camp has a way of kind of thinning the herd. Like you said, man, sometimes guys tweak things. You have injuries, minor setbacks. I'd feel pretty good about a guy like Christian Welch squeaking his way onto this team. I don't think that you can save him on the practice squad. I think he'll get snatched up right away. Same thing with Isaiah Simmons as well. So I think one of those 2 names has to be your 5th stack backer for sure.
In terms of the mock question there for Cooper, Ron Sample makes a great point. He says, do you want to put that on Cooper's plate? That could result in the sophomore slump. I think that's a very fair, way of looking at it. However, we seen on tape last year, Ron, he played mock, right? We've seen it from time to time because it's interchangeable. We also seen him barking out calls to Quay Walker on the tape. Yep. So here's the way I look at that. He can either handle it or he can't. I think the team will do a good job determining whether he can handle it. Imagine – I got to watch my words here, Tim. We've been talking about Edgerrin Cooper. We've been mentioning him in names like Lawrence Taylor, Ray Lewis, people like that. And the reason being is because we in Green Bay have never seen a rookie linebacker come out and do what he did, right? I mean, a stack backer. Not even A.J. Hawk, and you guys know I think A.J. Hawk was a great linebacker. If he hadn't been taken in the top 5 – and he was drafted in the 2nd round, he would be one of the most beloved Packers in the history of Green Bay. But the fact that he was taken so high, people look at him as an underachiever. I just don't see it. Team captain, won a Super Bowl after winning a national championship in college. He did everything you could do. He was always voted team captain. However, Edgerrin Cooper's different, man. So the point I was making, Ron, is imagine if they would have approached it like that with a Ray Lewis. Or, Lawrence Taylor, it was different back then, obviously. But imagine if Ray Lewis are like, okay, we don't want to put too much on his plate. Then they wouldn't have been able to see right out of the gate, holy cow, this dude is a quarterback on defense. And on top of that, he's just an ass kicker. You know what I mean? So,
we've got that example right here. Look at Quay. They threw Quay into the fire as a rookie. Green dot. He was the mic right away. You can feel how you want about how he performed, but if he could handle that right away, I'm sure Edgerrin Cooper can handle it in year 2.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, with people saying that Quay hasn't lived up to that 1st-round talent, that 1st-round draft pick, who's to say that if they didn't slap it on Cooper and he can handle it, maybe that unlocks Quay, that he gets that off his plate. So I think Ron makes a good point, I agree. So, I want to say no. I don't think it'll result in a sophomore slump based off what we've seen, Ron, because he was already barking out orders, this and that. The only difference if he wears the green dot is it's radioed into him. That's it, right? He's still got X behind him navigating track. So it's literally go to the huddle. He's going to hear the call before everybody else, relay the call to everyone, and then that's the only difference. So it's not like he's going to be out there completely lining everyone up. That's not what Quay was doing. You got X at safety kind of helping direct traffic. And we seen last year Evan Williams pointing at X a couple times, right? So I think
Let's not look past the obvious choice, too, that in a pinch, Zay McDuffie is your green dot. I think if we got banged up at the end of the day and you need someone to get those calls in, say we're down Quay, say we're down even a Tyron Hopper or somebody, and it's Coop and McDuff out there. I think you let Coop just do his thing and you let Zay McDuffie wear your green dot.
Yeah. Drew D in the chat says Quay Walker was seen at minicamp on a one-legged scooter and his foot in an orthopedic boot. So thank you for that.
Like that, Jan.
Yeah. Thank you for that information, Drew. I'll tell you who, I don't want to say he likes it, but he's just chomping at the bit to get his shot. That's Tyron Hopper. There's no doubt about that. Now, think about the Isaiah Simmons signing now, Tim. Forget whether Quay's going to be ready week 1 or not. I feel comfortable saying he probably will. I'm sure they took all precautionary measures. It's probably why we've seen him on the scooter, right, Drew? So if that's the case, imagine the Isaiah Simmons. Let's say Quay isn't ready, right? Having Isaiah Simmons come in and battle with Tyron Hopper for that third linebacker spot in your base 4-3, it's going to be ran probably 20 to 25% of your defensive snaps. Goody knew what the hell he was doing, man. I feel like he really built the back half of this roster a little bit better. And we said, hey, look, we need some more veterans on the team. He went and did that. I heard somebody on radio the other day. Again, I'm trying not to rant on the radio, but my God. It's like you just don't have enough veterans. You didn't go get no veterans. You signed Aaron Banks, veteran. You signed Nate Hobbs, veteran. 2 big free agent signings, right? You also went and got Mecole Hardman, Super Bowl champion, veteran. And you went and got Isaiah Simmons, veteran. Like, you added 4 veterans who are going to see significant playing time this year. Stop talking into a microphone if you don't want to take 2 seconds to understand what we actually did from an organizational standpoint.
Hey, that's all right. Those radio guys, Clayton, hey, it's all good. You know why?
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
There you go. It really drives me crazy, man. The other comment too was now the talking point when you pointed out, like, to go back to Rashawn Gary for a second, led the team in sacks. Well, the team was bad at getting sacks. We were 9th in sacks. Well, a good chunk of those sacks came in 3 games. What's your point?
Yeah.
We're not allowed to have 3 good games? Like, what? Right? And then on top of that, it was now the latest thing I'm seeing making its way around Twitter is, well, if the defensive line, the pass rush was so good, why did they fire their defensive line coach? Because the defensive line coach was held over from Joe Barry's regime, maybe? I pause for dramatic effect. Like, what are we?
Coach Covington is the real deal. And if you have an opportunity to bring a guy like that in, you do it.
It's literally every argument that they make gets smacked away with facts. Yep. And now they're down to, well, they fired a defensive line coach because the pass rush was so bad. I can't take it. I'm just like, I'm moving on. I'm moving on with my life. So let's move on to cornerbacks since I'm moving on from that. Cornerbacks, Keyshawn Nixon, Nate Hobbs, Carrington Valentine, Gregory Jr. You're going, who? I'm going to talk about him in a second. Bo Melton, Kamal Haddon, Kalen King, Isaiah Dunn, Tyron Herring, and Micah Robinson. Now, remember, Micah, a little bit of injury concern there, right? Bo Melton listed in here just still cracks me up, man. It's just like, I don't think
the top of the list, as well.
I know, and I shook it up like that for a reason, but it's like, are we really going to see Bo Melton play corner? Probably not, unless injuries hit real hard. But I'll tell you, it's nice to have him on the roster. If for some reason, let's say you've got 4 corners, let's say 5 corners activated for game day, 2 of them go down with an injury, you're going to be really happy that you kept Bo Melton on the 53, For sure. So something to think about. Now, with that being said, Gregory Jr., I think it was who? That's what I said. Bill Huber pointed this out, though, in one of his articles. We need to keep an eye on Gregory Jr. because he was signed before OTAs and immediately got time with the first unit. Micah Robinson, the 7th-round pick, didn't practice during the minicamp. So let's say Micah Robinson is healthy and makes the 53. He's already behind the 8 ball, which kind of goes back to what Matt LaFleur was saying about these young players, right? So Gregory Jr., so shout out to Bill Huber for pointing that out. And I thought that was a great – I'm pretty sure it was Bill Huber that I read that article on. We need to keep an eye on Gregory Jr. because he was signed before OTAs and got that time with the first unit. So he's already kind of a step ahead. I went and watched his tape earlier. I was going to put a little mini chalk talk together. Going to be honest with you guys. Wasn't much tape on our boy Gregory Jr., but I think they make a great point here, Tim, about that. So if we're talking corners, whether you carry 5 or 6 coming out of camp, Keyshawn Nixon, Nate Hobbs, Carrington Valentine, those are your top 3 corners, right? Next would probably be for me, Kalen King, Micah Robinson, Kamal Haddon. That would be my 6, right? And again, whether Bo Melton makes the roster or not, let's just kind of exclude him for a second. So if those are your 6, and your 6 being Micah Robinson starts on PUP, maybe it is Gregory Jr. that makes 53. Man. Who knows?
Maybe it's Bo Melton.
Yeah. Hey, again, man, I was embarrassed to say it when we watched the last mini camp or whatever, and they had filmed for the DB foot drills, the footwork drills for the DBs. Boys, I'm telling you, I remember doing the show. I scrolled up, I believe, where you could only see the feet, and I said, "You guys tell me when you see the best one." It's like, oh, that dude, hands down, he's got the best feet doing the rope drill, right? Sure enough, it's Bo Melton of all the corners that was in camp. So you never know, man. Never know. I'm trying to hold out hope on Kalen King, though, man. I really am.
Me too.
Micah Robinson had fun tape. He did.
Yeah, a lot of upside with Kalen King and Micah Robinson, I think. But obviously, Micah Robinson dealing with a little bit of injury issues right now. I agree with you. Beyond our core guys, I would look to Kalen King, and then Kamal Haddon would be the next 2 names that pop up to me. And then you're getting down to, like you said, Micah Robinson, Isaiah Dunn, those guys. Either way, when you look at it this way, with Jair not being in the fold anymore, crazier things have happened. I could see Bo making this team as a corner. I really could.
Yeah. Coach Lynn asks a good question. He says, is Gregory at slot, DB, or perimeter? The tape that I watched, it was very limited. He was in the slot. And what you noticed was him in on the run plays. That's the thing that kind of, usually you could watch a little bit of tape of the player and go, that's what he does well. Kind of felt like that's what he did well. So, yeah, to answer
I'm with Coach. Hope he's a perimeter DB. Right. Well, guess not. We got our answer. we got a lot of slot guys, right? We need some boundary guys.
Right. But that's the beautiful thing about the Nate Hobbs signing, and why I believe they kind of prioritized him over others is, he's best in the slot, but he can kick outside too. So
True.
Let's say Keyshawn goes down, gets banged up, right? And let's say that Gregory Jr. just balls out in camp. He makes a 53. Who knows, man? Maybe Gregory Jr. passes up Bullard for the backup slot spot. I doubt it. I feel a lot better with Bullard. I think he played best in the slot as opposed to safety. But It's going to be fun, man. Cornerback room, Tim. Keep an eye on it, dude.
Oh, yeah.
How you're going to do it at camp, because you're going to come in. I'm going to go, did you watch every single position on the field, Tim, please?
No, I didn't. But you know where I'm going to hang out? I'm going to hang out on that south end zone at Ray Nitschke Field, and I'm going to watch our defense. So I will definitely keep my eyes on the corners for sure, and give you guys what I can as it develops.
I think that's a great game plan too, because as you guys know, offense gets the most love, the most pub during camp. Yep. So we'll get plenty of offensive updates. If we got Tim down there watching the defense, I think that's a great move, Tim. And I know you're not a defensive guy at all. You're going to hate doing this, but
yeah, I know.
Sarcasm. Sarcasm. All right, moving along, man. Safety. Love these two right here. I think the fact that our boy Evan Williams gets to learn under this guy, McKinney, for the next 3 years, absolutely fires me up, man. Evan Williams, I'm not going to be surprised if Evan takes a step back his sophomore year. I'm not going to freak out, right? Barring just a crazy setback. But Tim, in his second year, what did he finish at, like a 72 PFF grade or something? If he takes a step forward and puts himself in, let's say, the low 80s, oh my gosh, dude. Could you imagine how good? I mean, this is going to feel like the olden days where the safety room was just always solid. And the fact that Evan Williams proved on the back half of the season that he could play post safety just as well as he could play in the box. Yeah. And that allowed McKinney to come up in the box, play closer to the line of scrimmage and closer to the ball from time to time. It's exciting, man, because they started going away from throwing deep because they knew McKinney was back there patrolling post safety, right? And then all of a sudden when they stopped throwing deep, you see McKinney sliding up in the box more, covering the Y, covering, helping inside leverage and zone coverage against that number 2 in the slot, all those things. So these two guys I'm fired up about, man. As far as the safety position, though, Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams, right? And this is where it gets good. You got Javon Bullard, Zane Anderson, and Katano Ladapo. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. Strictly from a safety standpoint, I like Zane Anderson better than Bullard right now. That's me. Based off what we've seen on tape, reading the quarterback, reacting, like literally playing his zone, which you're going to see from Carrington Valentine here in a second, playing his zone while keeping his eyes on the quarterback and then breaking off of his assignment and picking balls off. It actually makes the highlight reel on Carrington Anderson's highlight reel in Chalk Talk, you're going to see an interception by Zane Anderson. Now, Zane Anderson got a concussion there at the end of the year too. He plays the game very physical in that regard. But, Tim, I think I like Zane Anderson a little bit better than Bullard at the safety position. With that being said, really love Bullard as our backup slot. So there's value. Please don't think I'm writing Bullard off. I think Bullard was great. Not great. Bullard was above average to good in the slot, in my opinion. He really struggled, though, at safety last year. So with that being said, there's 5 at the top of the heap there. Let's say you've got to cut one of those 5. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Tim. Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams, they make the roster, right? Javon Bullard makes the roster. So it's going to come down to Zane Anderson or Katan Ola Home Depot. Who are you keeping, man? Love the drop. Who are you keeping, Zane Anderson or Oladapo? Maybe the question is, can you sneak one of those 2 guys on the practice squad? I don't know.
Can we keep all these guys? I want to keep Bugs Brown. I want to keep Baldwin. I want to
Bugs,
keep Omar Brown.
Hey, dude, there's going to be – I'm telling you right now, man, there's Jonathan Baldwin, right? Kazir Brown, like you said, they call him Bugs, right? Yep. And he's the dude, right? Wasn't he the guy, like his RAS was really wild? Am I thinking right? Was he like a bigger –
I think so, yeah.
Guy? Somebody look that up for me in the chat real quick if you don't care. Kazir Brown, Kahzirbrowin. Kazir Brown. Give me his build, height, and weight. But Tim, what do you think? If you had
I've got a suggestion here. Mm-hmm. You want to hear my suggestion?
Yeah.
I don't think we cut Zane or Katan Oladapo. I think you convert Bullard to a corner. Just say the guy is a slot corner, and you run with X Williams, Zane, KT, and then Omar Brown that's your safeties.
Yeah. You and Drew on the same page here. You said you could justify keeping an extra safety because Bullard is a nickel. That's exactly right.
Right there with you, brother. Yep.
But you guys, Drew and Tim, are avoiding my question. You have to choose between Zane Anderson and Oladapo. Who would it be, man?
Oh, I'm taking KT. I mean, no disrespect to Zane, who, a lot of the fan base found out was a real person about 8 months ago. He's a hell of a player, special teamer, contributes. Like you said, he's got the tape to back it up. But there's a reason why we grabbed KT Oladapo, and he's seen limited reps as it is. My gut's going to go with the youth movement. I'm going to take Oladapo over Zane. And
I think I would go – I want to go Zane so bad, but you make a great point, man.
Yeah.
It probably would end up being Oladapo if I put my own feet to the fire there. So Bates in the chat says 6'1", 223 was Bugs Brown. And I want to say going into the draft process, after they drafted him and we looked it up, I want to say some places had him listed at 6'2", and I was like, oh man, 6'2" at safety. That's exciting stuff.
Like that.
Probably closer to 6'1" than 6'2", I would imagine, or right around that mark. It looks like Drew D pulled the same measurements there. Thank you guys for that. Appreciate you, man.
I love that we're having this conversation about our safety room, right? I mean, you talk about the legends that played that position in Green Bay. You're talking about Charles Woodson, Leroy Butler, Nick Collins. I mean, we've had absolute dogs in the safety room. And then, of course, the past few years prior to Goody flipping that room, it's kind of the dark ages for our safeties. And it's nice to see this room now, and you can see a future with the safeties that we have for sure.
Yeah. 2-0 for this says, only negative I give Zane is the injury history. I think that's a great point, Zane. Or Zane, 2-0 for this. I think it's a great point. Like, you can't make the club in the tub, and if it comes down to they both got the same grade, the same marks from camp as coaches or we look at it like, okay, when camp practice is over, the coaches are going to go have a ice cold brew chacha and call it a night. No, that ain't how it works. Every snap is filmed at practice, and as soon as the guys go home, those coaches are burning midnight oil watching the tape from practice, right? Let's say they got the same amount of marks, right? And okay, Zane Anderson, Katano Ladapo, they both mark out perfect. All right, tiebreaker, what's the availability been like? And that kind of goes back to the youth movement, right? We're talking about too. So it's going to be interesting for sure, though. Let's see here.
A great point. I mean, we talk about Rome with the concussions, right? I mean, Zane Anderson's been concussed a few times too as well. So something you got to be keeping an eye on.
Definitely. Coach Lynn says Bugs Brown is a linebacker, LOL. No doubt, man. He built like a backer for sure. And who knows, man? We may come out in camp and he plays stack backer. You never know, right?
Thick.
Moving on to specialists, it makes me so happy. Every time we talk specialists, Tim, I get so excited that we got a kicker. You know what I mean?
we got two kickers, man.
Yeah. And you got Alex Hale. Obviously, you'll probably look to keep him on the practice squad again. Daniel Whelan, punter, just dominant. Long snapper, Matt Orzik. I like Matt Orzik. I don't know why, but it seems like there's more fans than I didn't expect that thought he did not do a good job. I thought he did well, man. But Brandon McManus with Daniel Whelan holding. That's the other thing, too. We look at Daniel Whelan and the way, he weighs 6'4", 6'5", something like that. His RAS is through the roof for a punter. But we seen it last year. A bad snap, nothing for him to go up, Air Jordan, grab that thing out of the air, change level, punt it away. All that stuff, great. Strong leg, great placement, handles the snap well, big wingspan for bad snaps, all that. We never talk about his ability to hold on kicks. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. Brandon McManus and Daniel Whelan, probably the two unsung heroes on this Packers team, man.
I agree. Great point about Danny Whelan, too. It's I guess a luxury would be the term to use when you don't have to have a guy like Malik Willis holding kicks for you. You don't need to put your backup, quarterback on the field to hold for place kicking. The fact that Danny Whelan can handle a bad snap as a punter and as a holder in the kicking game. Matter of fact, I mean, we're looking at this picture right here from McMoney's first game as a Packer when he kicked a game winner and walked off. You guys remember the chalk talk from that play? That was a bad snap, and our boy Danny Whelan got it down and got a good hold on it, and McManus took care of the rest. It's called being a professional, and gotta love it.
Speaking of being professional, Deadfish says, how can we improve the long snapper position? Got to target one in the first round of next year's draft. You trying to get us canceled over here, Deadfish.
Oh.
So there you go. There is just a quick run through of the offensive and defensive side of the depth chart getting ready for camp. As you guys know, everything's getting kicked off as we speak, man. There are players in town already. And man, football season's here. I'm just so thankful for it, Tim. Yeah. Let's dive into a little chalk talk. You want to do a rapid fire chalk talk of Carrington Valentine from last year, man?
Oh, let's go. All right. Kentucky's own. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So here's the deal, guys. If you're new here, appreciate you tuning in to PTA. Hit like, hit subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notification. That way you get notified every time we go live. We go live daily. We break